Hello, viewers. Today we'll be looking at another topic, religious title. I still remain your host, Irene Odogun, and this is the HarvestField Network. So I welcome each and every one of you to our today's episode. Please pardon me, I'm a stammerer. I've said it before. But I will try as much as possible to pass my message. And please just be attentive. If you look at the world today, you will see that there are so many names that our so-called men of God are bearing. But let's not forget one adage in our own pidgin English that said, "Na big name the key dog." So today we are trying to look at some of these clergy titles and try to marry it to the word of God to see if they even have bearing to the word of God. we have we have names like your lordship, your eminence. We have bishop, archbishop, deacons, deaconess, pastors. We have names like venerable. There are so many that we'll be looking at in the course of today's topic. And so we'll be starting. Our advice for today is taken from the book of Matthew chapter 23. If you read from verses down to 12, we'll see how Christ addressed the use of titles there. And we'll equally see how Paul saw these titles too. How we will see if there is example of early Christian church leaders bearing these names that we see flying around everywhere today. First of all, we'll be looking at the disciples of Christ. When they came to meet Jesus Christ, they asked him, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And then he gave them an answer. If you look at the book of Matthew chapter 18, if you read from verse 1, when the apostles went to meet him and they asked him, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? He said, unless you become like these little children, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. And from there, we are able to know that it is not your religious title, it's not the title now that you are bearing as an individual that will give you easy passage to heaven. Jesus clearly taught against the use of religious titles of ascendancy, that is, exalting one man above another. I know ordinarily in a church they will want to exalt maybe the founder of the church or maybe the one taking care of the rest, as in the shepherd or whatever. But then the choice of titles that they call matters a lot as far as the New Testament church is concerned. Then the use of title now that is uplifting one man so highly above the rest, as far as the Bible is concerned, is wrong. Christ condemns it. Let's examine the book of Matthew chapter 23, verses 6 down. Let's start from verse 9. Matthew 23, verse 9. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. You see what this place just said? Christ condemned one man usurping too much authority within the church circle. That is not to say you will not give honor to whom honor is due. If you look at the lives of the apostles, they never converted so much names. If you look at Christendom today, you will find that even the religious titles now is not enough for them. You will find names like apostle, doctor. They are still bringing in worldly titles to add to it, to make me and you believe that actually they are well read. You don't have to make any point to say, okay, I'm a professor, let me add it to my Christian name. It's not supposed to be so. As learned as Apostle Paul, we didn't see him bearing a title, Apostle Barrister, even if we know he was a lawyer. Did we see such example? So today you will now come to find out there are so many names that people are giving themselves that are not fitting of a man of God. We are equally going to see when the mother of James and John came to meet Christ and said, let one of my sons sit here, let another one sit there. What did Christ say to her? Let's see the book of Matthew chapter 20, verse 20. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee, children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what wilt thou? She said unto him, grant these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on thy left, in thy kingdom. But Jesus answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? Christ was more concerned. From here we will see that Christ was more concerned about what he is going to undergo. The leaders of the church these days are so relaxed. They are not concerned of the bulk, the load, the work that is set before them. They are concerned about how men will see them. They put so much emphasis on the respect they are to get from their fellow man in the church. And so they will want to add so many things to their name to make it look very fine, to make it look very respectable. Let me use that word. They begin to add different things into it. So you saw the reply that Christ gave to the mother of Zebedee, that it is not, she should not be concerned about who is sitting at the right hand and who is sitting at the left hand. You should be more concerned about the work that you are called to do in the ministry of Christ, and not the title now that you are supposed to bear that will make you look very special and very highly in the eyes of men. And so we are still going to look at them step by step. We have in some of our denomination, you will see people that they address as your lordship. Let's see what Bible says about this. Let's examine the book of 1 Peter chapter 5. Let's read from verse 2. Feed the flock which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for fitting lucre, but of a ready mind, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being example to the flock. You are not supposed to lord over them. You are not supposed to lord over the children of God. You are supposed to be an example to them. So for a person to be bearing the name your lordship, it is wrong. Who are you lording over? That's question now that will come to one's mind. Who are you actually lording over? If we address you now as your lordship, who are you lording over? And the Bible here is telling us that you should not lord over the children of God, the heritage of God. You shouldn't lord over them, but rather you should be an example to them, because the great shepherd shall come, he shall appear at the end of the day. You are not supposed to lord, and now they are bearing the name your lordship. So having said that, exalting one man above another is not right as far as the Bible is concerned. Because whether you like it or not, whether you are an archbishop, you are a deacon, whatever you think you are, we are all what? We are all brethren. We are all the saved ones. We are all the children of God. Let me use that word. So when the exaltation, when you now exalt one man too highly, that is where pride is set in. That is where so many sins we tend to come in. And at the end of the day, the church will not be in error. Exalting one man above another is against the New Testament way of naming the head of a church, of addressing somebody that is taking an oversight of a church. In fact, establishing the clergy as the case would be, the establishment of the word clergy now is against the New Testament pattern of church leadership. Because why? In First Peter chapter 2, if you read from verse 5, he said we are all royal priesthood. So if there is a separate people now that are supposed to be the priests, are we not trying to say the New Testament now is contradicting itself? If there's a separate people now that is addressed as the priest, those people that are called the clergy now, then there are now the floor members of the church. Are you not trying to tell me that Bible now have lied concerning you and I being a priest? So exalting one man more than the other is wrong as far as Bible is concerned. Does it not mean that there are no titles now for those that are taking oversight of the church? There are. We are going to look at them subsequently. Let's look at the book of First Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 6. And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to myself and to Apollos for your sake, that ye might learn in us not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you be puffed up for one against another. Even in the clergy now, as the case might be, some pastors or some church founders have made themselves higher than even their fellow pastors. Why? In terms of money, if you are more wealthy than the other, you tend to look down on that other pastor now. So you see where error is now coming in. That is what Paul was trying to talk to the early church about. They are thinking of him highly than Apollos. He said no, that it ought not to be so. That you should not think of one man higher than the other. He should have just taken the praise, but he did not. He came out to say no. He now saw that the thing was trying to cause an issue in the early church. In that book of Corinthians, he now said no, that it ought not to be so, that we shouldn't think of one man higher than the other. But in today's Christendom, you tend to find that it is how wealthy you are and the serious names that you have, the serious titles now that you have attached to your name, that will make people give you respect. It is wrong. Taking too many of all these big titles is wrong. From what we just saw, we shouldn't exalt one man higher than the other. If by God's grace you are put in a position of authority and you are supposed to lead the flock of God, you should do it with all diligence. Be humble about it. It's not an avenue for you to be puffed up. It's not an avenue for you to say you are the highest. That is why today we see titles like Archbishop. That word is not in the Bible. You can turn the Bible inside out. It will not fall out because it's not there. It's not there. The word archbishop is not in the Bible. But even among the bishop now, they are hustling to see which one will be the arch, which is the highest. Just as we have the archangel. So they want to be the archbishop. You see how funny it is. It's laughable. They've exalted themselves now even more than their fellow bishop. And then is it just any man that can be called a bishop? Can a bishop, that name, be given to a woman? These are some of the things we'll see in the second part of this post. I want to thank you very much for spending your time to listen to me. Please, you can share. Please share, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media handles. And most importantly, please drop your comment in the comment section below. Thank you very much. I'll be waiting to hear from you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye-bye.